This year, I've got to put this up on here. I want to get your opinion on this. Former referee Keith Hackett analysed 8 decisions that have gone Van Dijk's way. There is the elbow at the weekend, the foul on Onana, the kicking of Kai Havertz, the sort of shoulder smash on Anthony Gordon, and the sort of the studs high rakes down the backs of the legs of Solanke and Richarlison. VAR consistently saying no case to answer, but a lot of people, including ex-referees, are now saying that a lot of these maybe should have been red cards. What do you make of them? And if so, why do you think why do you think Van Dijk gets away with them?
Because that's life. Harry Kane used to commit some very bad fouls, and I remember him doing one at Anfield. It was a red card, and he didn't get it. Look at case in point, Michael Oliver. About the start of the season, you could go back over the last 18 months and look at all the decisions that favoured Man City. Does it mean there's corruption? Not necessarily. Is it coincidence? Maybe a little bit. Is it reputation? Yeah. You know, Man United, Howard Webb apparently used to favour us reputationally when Man United. Maybe Michael Oliver, Man City, the best team in the world in England. Van Dijk, best centre back in the league. You know, did Roy Keane, John Terry, Steven Gerrard, did they get a little bit go their way because of reputation? It's the way of the world, isn't it? Of course, if you're a centre back for Brentford, you're probably not going to get away with things as much as Van Dijk. But sometimes it can go the other way. Sometimes a referee can go, you know, here's my opportunity to send off Roy Keane or whatever like that. So yeah, it's aura, whatever, aura, reputation. You know, it's a bit like rich people tend to attract money, don't they? You know, it's like a rich person walks into a designer shop and they go, "Oh my God, you've come into our shop. Take what you like." They can bloody afford it. You're there with your bloody weekly wages. You can't afford it, and they're going, "Yeah, full price." You know, rich guy or woman walks in, discount, this, that, and the other. It's just life. You know, I think it's just life.
Do you know what? I've been thinking about this all morning because I knew we were going to feature it. And I think some of those are red cards. The biggest one of all, Anthony Gordon, the way he goes past him and hits him with his shoulder. For me, that's assault. It's not even a foul. It's ridiculous. And Van Dijk's a big geezer. He's a big bloke, putting all that weight through. And Anthony Gordon's quite a skinny geezer. Like putting that right through his jaw. It's assault for me. So yeah, I think some of those should have been red cards.
King Truth says it's just life, so let's accept it. Oh, absolutely not. I can't stand it. But you'll send yourself crazy, is what I'm saying. Like that, there are arguments that are worth having, and if you're one of those people in life that think every injustice is worth arguing about, trust me, save your life. You know, there are too many arguments. You can't save everything. Sometimes you just got to go, that's the way it is. I'll conserve my energy for something that's a little bit more important. I can't solve that Van Dijk thing for you. I can't solve the fact that if it's Gabriel, he probably gets a red card, or Casemiro, whatever. You know, I can't solve it. I'm just saying that's why I think it happens.
No, I agree. I get where you're coming from with that. I think some of these are red cards, and to King Truth, you know, I will call them out, you know, where and when I can. But I think what fans have got to be also asking to happen is look at why these things are happening. And what I sort of mean by that is, I think there is this element of, like, I read a report that he does. I think it was in this article where he goes into with the manager, he goes into the referee's changing room before games, which isn't solely him. And the idea that Keith Hackett puts across is he must win a lot of heart and minds. And 100%. It reminds me of a story I read that John Fashanu spoke about. John Fashanu, original presenter of the Gladiators in the 90s, but a talented football player. And he was a very dirty football player in that era of the game. And he spoke about what he would do. He said, do research in the week. Always remember the referee's name if he had a nickname, his wife's name, his kids' names, how old his kids were, where they went to school, what they were doing with their life. And he would go into the dressing room before the game, or when they're walking out on the pitch, and they go, hello, Keith, how you doing? How's Daisy, your wife? How's little Maisie? How's she getting on at ballet now? I heard she did well in a competition recently. And he said, what that enabled me to do was to get away with 2 or 3 more really bad tackles than anybody else. So for me, I think there's something that all of our teams can look at and go, right, well, how can there must be something he does to be able to influence the referees to just overlook certain things. You might not be able to stop him from doing that. Maybe what you have to do is the same thing I was saying to Arsenal fans last night on the Top 6 show on the Terrace, that maybe you've got to stop this whole, Anthony Taylor's refereeing us this week. Maybe you should stop calling out the individual name. Maybe you should just, because Arteta did it when he was asked this week, do you think referees are targeting Lewis Skelly? It's funny, we spoke last week on this very show, that article about him doing the handoffs is going to end up leading to unconscious bias, and then he concedes a soft penalty. The best thing that Arteta can do is go, no one's got an agenda against him. No one thinks this of him. Almost like play it down. That might be the right way to react rather than kicking off about it, as an example, because you can't, as you say, you can't always influence in that way. Maybe you've got to do it from a different direction and maybe get it so that one of your players can do that. I'm not saying you want your players to behave that way, but that's the margins when it comes to professional sports. You're always going to find people, and there's going to be players in every team, in every sport, that are looking to cut corners and to bend the rules as much as they can. So maybe the answer is more about you doing the same thing. Your club doing the same thing. Maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. Thank you, Anthony, for encouraging everybody to get that like button smashed. That'd be brilliant if you could do that. It really, really would. Thank you very much indeed. What does it say here? Terry being salty of City's success is crazy. You experience it as a fan as well. You know how hard it is to stay at those levels all the time. What's that got to do with it? Right? Yeah. And I criticize my players when they're bad. I don't get what you're saying. I don't get it. I don't get so I can't criticize a player that's brilliant who's having a bad
That's just a Man City fan doing what they always do. Here I am. Yeah. Make some noise. Yeah. We've not said anything about Man City, really, have we?
No, nothing even disrespectful.
Give us a couple of weeks. There'll be plenty to talk about. Please. One way or another.
Mate, I just want it over with now. Honestly, I want it done. I want to be able to talk about it with some facts, if that makes sense, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Aya here says, so basically the rules can be officiated subjectively according to how refs feel about a team or a player. Yes, they are. They are.
They're human beings, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. This here from Johnny says, Cruyff turn compared to Goldbridge U-turn. Useless. They meant Cruyff's. Crufts, not Cruyff.
I actually have got a turn that I call the Goldbridge turn. It's not.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll show everyone one day.
Oh.
I'm convinced I started it. I did it on a local park in about 1992. I'd never seen it before. So one day I'm going to film it, and then the chat can say whose turn it. It's not the Cruyff turn. It's an evolution on it.
Is it? Oh.
And the person I did it on in an actual match, they're still going the wrong way 23 years later.
So it's like an evolution.
33 years later.
Is it like an evolution, like a see-through toaster? You didn't invent toasters, but it's like a new version, like like an adaptation. I get it there. Look, he's back here again, mate. He says, Mark, you don't respect us viewers, but you slurp up everything Arsenal fans say. Slurp.
Well, I must respect Arsenal fans anyway. I don't respect Man City fans who started supporting the club in 2016. I respect Man City fans who supported them in League One and know who Sean Goater is and Nicky Weaver. And I'll leave it there because I've probably just confused the shit out of about 90% of the Man City fans. Nicky Weaver, was he in Boyzone? No, he used to play in goal.
The name of a great show you get, Turning with Goldbridge. I like it. Yeah, I like it. This is then no one should tell Arsenal and its fans about the letter of the law if officiating is subjective. Well, no, not everything is subjective. For instance, they shouldn't they shouldn't not draw the lines if someone's offside because they don't like a striker. As an example, what I'm saying, Aya, is it's very hard if when Van Dijk goes into the dressing room with the referees, which is allowed, if he is charming and charismatic and friendly and he makes those referees like him, that isn't bribery. That's just life. That you can't stop that from happening. Some people in the business world I worked in, when I worked in finance, they used to get deals and opportunities just because they were very good at making friends with people. They were extroverts and they were very friendly. And I had a friend called Rio, who was just the best person I've ever seen at making friends, charming people, and it would open up doors and opportunities for him. You can't put a rule in that stops that, as an example, because you need that conduit between the referees, the player, the manager, and everybody on the pitch. Maybe it's about time we start teaching other players to develop those relationships, is all I'm saying. Look.